for many of you, blockchain is a new word, and Hashgraph is probably a brand new word. But this has been under development since 2012, and I think you'll now see more and more mentions of it in the press. So we refer to it as a 6-year overnight success. Dr. Baird completed the development in 15, the architecture of it, published a white paper in 16, first customer in 17, and early this year we announced our public ledger. So been in development for quite a while. What I want to talk about next here is talk about speed, and then we're going to talk about applications, which I touched on before. So this is Bitcoin. You know, people love Bitcoin. It's incredibly well known, but it's very slow, and it can be expensive to trade, especially in small increments. That's Ethereum. Much faster, you know, twice as fast, about the same price per transaction. These vary. This is the so-called next generation. There's a variety of companies like this. Maybe you could see EOS, you could see a variety of others that promise thousands of transactions a second. And then to compare that is us. And the speed is, you know, order of magnitude or multiple orders of magnitude faster. And as I mentioned earlier, it's much cheaper. And you can see that is we think is roughly 6 millionths of a penny per transaction. So let's put this in actual comparisons, because these numbers are hard to really conceptualize. I can't tell you that 2 snails necessarily are faster than 1, but you know, give me, that's the best I could do. And that is actually, you know, people always say, just best technology doesn't win. You know, Betamax didn't win out over VHS. And my response to that is, you know, how many people took a plane here and how many people took a horse? And when you have technologies which are vastly better, they do win. And that's what we're talking about here, is that level of difference. So what do you do with this? We think micropayments is one thing that's interesting to do. And so for micropayments, you need a couple key things. It has to be, obviously it has to be support very small payments. And that is, I think, not been possible before. You also need to have very low latency. You have to be quickly. You can't buy something for a penny if you have to wait an hour for that transaction actually clear. It has to clear in seconds. You also, because you're clearing it in seconds and you're buying small increments, you have to be able to clear a lot. So you need to be able to have a big volume. And fees obviously have to be small, but the red is the key bit, which is enable ad hoc payments. And what that means is that you don't set up an account with someone in advance. So right now, if you want to try to do a micropayment, you can do it, but you have to know someone, they have to know you, you get credit check back and forth, you trade small increments, and you settle up every so often. Ad hoc micropayments mean you have no account set up before. It's you're paying somebody without a previous relationship. That's what hasn't been done before. And that is what we think can happen here. And so what type of opportunities exist for that? There's a couple different ones. I think one area we think about is the consumer, the other is IoT, and the other is business to business. And so for consumer, maybe you pay for a song or per second or per minute you listen to it, or per page or per article. Right now, when you're reading a newspaper, you get a lot of paywalls. And so maybe what if you could pay per article and it costs a penny per article? That's something that might be a pretty interesting deployment. Then there's IoT, Internet of Things. Cars could buy directions, for example, or could buy faster routes. Maybe that's minute by minute again. Maybe you have solar panels on your roof. You sell that to the grid. Maybe you're buying electricity minute by minute or water minute by minute, incredibly small increments. And then there is the real B2B. The best example here I can think of is shipping pallets. So shipping pallet needs to, or there are sensors on shipping pallets that can describe where they are, also can describe the weather conditions. They're not used that frequently. They're used about once every 15 minutes. And so, but that information is useful to a wide variety of people in the ecosystem. It's useful to the ports, want to know where the pallets, how they move forward. The customers want to know where the pallets are. Weather providers may want to know what the weather is like. One ping every 15 minutes isn't a lot, but if you're talking about 100 million pallets moving around the world, you have a massive amount of pings that have to happen. So those are a couple different use cases. Here, I think, is just some fun stuff to show. Mobile apps, 2003. People say there's not much, people aren't using much from blockchain right now. Well, this is, guess how many apps in iOS and Android today? Any guesses? So it moved up quite a lot. Oh, and we got to 3.5 million. So it's hard to imagine, back when it launched, there were 3,000. We're at millions now. Maybe we should talk about websites. 92, 10 websites. How many websites do you think are in existence now? Any guess? Right, way more. It kept growing, almost 2 billion. What's interesting here, I think, is that the top 20 launched in 01, about 11 years after the browser. What's significant about that date, 2002? Nothing is really significant about it, but broadband became available in 99. And most of the top websites, most visited websites that we know, launched after broadband. We think that when you have the speed and the cheapness and the security of a transaction-based layer like ours, we effectively bring broadband to the distributed ledger space, and that will catalyze a whole ecosystem of applications which haven't yet happened. You know, think back in 1992, you couldn't imagine calling Uber on your phone. You couldn't imagine, you couldn't imagine buying your whole world on Amazon every day. That's what we think that is the future potentially with distributed ledgers once we have this level of speed and security and price involved. So, any questions?
What's the company's challenges to expand your business?
Company challenges to expand the business. I guess there's a couple. Clearly, technology is the core of what we do. And so the technology, we're doing a global hackathon next week in actually 8 cities around the world with about 1,000 developers participating. So that is a very exciting component to it. So I think everything on this rests on the technology. And there's even where we are now, we have a roadmap that we need to implement. So that's kind of point one. It's always a challenge to hire and find the best people. So that's sort of point two. And then we want to attract the best developers and the best applications to build on our network. And it's a competitive space. There are other people out there who have base layers who are working very hard to also attract people to build on it. And so to be successful, we need to be very competitive in that area as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a question that I've been asking me for many years. What if employees would be happier and engaged in their workplaces? As we are in the Japan society, I will greet you in Japanese. Minasan konnichiwa. Hello, everybody. How is your mood today? My name is Miho Shoji. I am the CEO of Moodbit. I've been working in the HR industry for more than 8 years, and I've been asking this question for many times. How companies are knowing how their employees are feeling? Did you know that disengaged employees are making American companies lose every year more than $550 billion because of unproductive employees? And not just that, 10% of their employees want to quit their job in the first year, making the company spend more than 200% of that salary to replace that job position. This is a graphic that shows you how America is related to engagement. It is 1% less engaged than the whole world. That's why we create Moodbit. And Moodbit is an emotion-sensing technology powered by AI that analyzes employees' emotions and delivers data to HR, leaders, and executives so they can take actions and engage their employees. But not just that, we don't give just raw data. We give analytics, predictive and prescriptive analytics, so they can take actions and they can help the employees to be happier and more engaged. Did you know that if employees are just 1% more engaged, the profit will be 20% more, and the turnover will decrease in 25%. So how does Moodbit work? Moodbit is a technology that can be applied in many different internal communication platforms, starting with Slack, Skype for Business, Gmail, Outlook, and we have the voice assistants on Alexa and Google Assistant too. We are a B2B business. We are focused on enterprises, but we know that small business and medium-sized business have this engagement problem too. So we know that they can use our technology. We have traction, and our traction is on Slack. We have more than 160 teams that are working with our app on Slack, and 400 users asking questions to Moodbit in Alexa and Google Assistant. Our business model is very simple. If they want to use Moodbit as a free service, they can do it, but they have to be a small team, and they will have just the descriptive actions. They will know how their employees are feeling, but if they want the analytics, what to do when they are feeling very, very stressed or very sad, they have to pay the standard plan. The standard plan is $6 per employee, and if they want to know what to do when their employees are feeling bad or sad, they have to pay the premium plan, because we're going to give them actions, what to do with their employees. They don't want just to know how they are feeling, but they want to know, what can I do with my employees? That's why we create these 3 different plans. If we are thinking that our clients are going to pay just the premium plan, we are facing a revenue opportunity of $2.5 billion. My team is a team that we have been working together the past 8 years. My co-founder and I, we had 3 previous startups, one in HR. He's the CTO of the company. We have engineers, 4 engineers, marketing people, and corporate psychologists too. We have partnerships. Human resources partnership from the East Coast and the West Coast. We have partnership with small business societies here in New York, and technical partnerships too with Amazon, AWS, and Google Cloud Platforms, and Score, who are working with a small business. And we are in progress with partnership with EY. We pitched them last week, and they are very, very interesting to work in a go-to-market strategy to resell our service to their clients. We start working with them as clients. They want to start with their employees, knowing how their employees are feeling. And we are in progress partnership with Deloitte, and we are been working with psychologists, corporate psychologists with the University Hunter College and Columbia College too. We are looking now to raise $2 million because we need to make our team a little bit bigger, so our technology will be faster for all our clients. So, wrapping up, why we create this? We are an emotion sensing technology that use artificial intelligence, and we create this because HR is changing, and the work is changing now. The revenue projection is $2.5 billion, and we are a successful team of entrepreneurs with experience. So if you are interested in change with me, the future of work, just join me and talk to me after the event. Thank you.
Any comments, questions, or someone has a checkbook with $2 million ready and available?
Thank you.
No problem.
I think I understood the core of your presentation. All the people behaviors, application changing on each culture community.
Yes.
So my question to you is, do you think this gonna go universal, or you're defining one specific market, a community, a business norm, like a US market, and you want to do that only in that market? Or do you think there's a way that you can, make this concept universal, because people behavior, people application to the workforce vary based on countries, based on community?
Yes, and our technology, it is not just for the U.S. market. It can change. It can go to any different market because it's a technology that can be added to any different internal platform. It doesn't matter what is the corporate culture or the country culture. We are analyzing the team's feelings, the team morale. And something that I forgot to say, that this is a technology that is anonymous. So we are delivering data to HR or leaders, and they don't know what each person is feeling, but we know how the team is feeling. So they can take actions on their team.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
No, we are not sending questionnaires. I've been working in HR for many years, and I know how surveys work. People answer surveys, and they answer with half of the truth and half of what they think their boss wants to hear. But how we are analyzing their emotions is with our technology. So our technology is an app that is in internal communication platforms. So when they are chatting or talking by phone or just talking by phone or a video call, we are analyzing what they are saying. So we are analyzing their chats or their conversations, but we are not saving any of this information. We are analyzing and then deliver just the data.
I see. Thank you.
One last question, and then on to the next speaker over there on my left.
When you analyze the data, do you benchmark it to other data in the same company, or are you looking across companies to come up with an analysis?
No, we are analyzing in the same company. And as I'm telling you, I think surveys are not giving us the real information about how employees are feeling, but still we are, in the first time that we know a client, we can grab their information, the previous information that they have, and we can compare their performance and productivity with how they change their performance because leaders are taking actions on their feelings, on their mood of their employees.
All right.
Thank
Very
you.
much. Let's give it one more round of applause. Thank you.
Hi everyone, we are Cinnamon. My name is Yoshi. I'm a co-founder and CEO at Cinnamon. So what if we could eliminate the repetitive tasks from across the world? This is what we are doing. So Cinnamon is a Japan-based AI company, now expanding to the US. What we do is we are extracting the information from unstructured documents such as invoice, financial statement, reports, or email, or any type of business document. For example, application, claims form, accident report. So we are providing our solution for banking and insurance. So we already have over 40 clients in Japan, and now expanding to the US. So Cinnamon's mission is eliminating repetitive tasks. So we have so many paperwork or documentation work, and then I personally hate it. No one enjoys it, right? So a little bit information about the company is we have over 50 data science machine learning engineer in our company, and we plan to expand this number over 500 in the next 5 years. And we are the first Japanese AI company that Sony invested. And we have already many clients, for example, Tokyo Marine, JCB, and 2 of the top 3 Japanese insurance, and then 2 of the top 3 Japanese banking. The value proposition that we offer is we can process the documentation much faster, cheaper, more data for your better decision making. This is some report from McKinsey, but so in the next 5 to 10 years, the potential areas of automation is about 40%. And among this 40%, majority part are coming from data entry or data processing. So that's why we are providing a cognitive document reader to automate the data extraction and verification. Our engine can extract information from any type of document, such as PDF, Word file, Excel, even handwriting or facsimiles. The accuracy of the data extraction is 99% at the research data, and 85% to 100% for the real data from our clients. The use case of the data entry is application form, invoice, accident report, or even passport. Some of the recent use case that we are working with a Japanese insurance company, but the company has around 300 people to process some entry form, and then we are, by using our engine, for the year 1, we are removing the 100 headcounts from that operation. That impacts about 5 million cost reduction per year. This is significant impact for the business. And our throughput is actually real time, and it's very fast. To read one document, it we can get the output less than 2 minutes. And in general, there are two types of the document in the world. One is fixed format, such as social identification fraud, which is the information is the same structure and the same position. But the other type of the document is free format, such as invoice or financial statement. Our competitor are very good at fixed format, but not many companies actually can extract information from an unstructured document. And this is our difference, that Cinnamon already achieved its proprietary deep learning technologies to extract information very accurately. And given we are treating very high confidential information such as personal information, that's why we allow our customers to choose either local or cloud-based servers. And a little bit our founders, but our team has strong combination of the technology and the business. Our CEO, Miku, and Hajime are the AI researchers. Miku has MSc from Tokyo University for AI, artificial intelligence, and Dr. Hajime has PhD for deep learning from Keio University. And these two actually work together over 10 years. They started their first company when they were in university, and they sold the company to one of the largest internet company to Japan in 2011. And Cinnamon is their second company. Yoshi, myself, is more for business guy. I have experience of working for Dentsu Recruit and Procter & Gamble Singapore as a brand manager to expand global, to accelerate the global expansion. So we have a strong combination for both technology and business. And we have 20 people in Tokyo already, and then 80 people in Vietnam. If you are interested, please reach us to potential collaborations. And we are hiring now in the US. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience? Comments, ideas? Yes, we'll get you a microphone.
Okay. If you started in Japan and then have expanded now to the US or other languages, how difficult is it to adapt it to different languages and different styles for the countries?
Yes, so there are some language difference, but actually the Japanese reading is probably more difficult in general than average, and then English is much simple. For example, the main reason is Japanese has, standard Japanese has around 3,000 characters, while English has only 28 letters, right? So that's why the prediction probability is in general very high in English to Japanese. And then because we're already achieving high accuracy in Japanese, technically we can adapt into Chinese quickly as well. In the same theory, we can also quickly adapt into other alphabetical languages, for example, French, Italy, Spanish, or even Indonesian Bahasa as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoshi. Thank you very much.
So hello, everyone. I'm Bill Baxter, and then also I'm joined here with Naoki Taniguchi, and we're with MUFG. So we are also a part of our digital transformation division, specifically our global innovation team, where we're basically tasked with looking at the new and emerging technologies or business models and figuring out ways that we can use them in the bank. So kind of pivotal to all that is kind of developing partnerships with up-and-coming startups. So this is part of the reason why we value the Japan and US startup ecosystem, specifically here in New York. And also, if there's anyone out there in the audience that has an up-and-coming startup and would like to maybe do work with the bank, we'd love to speak with you guys. And with all this being said, this is part of the reason why we also sponsored today's event. So we're going to go real quickly just to give an overview about MUFG, more specifically about what we're doing in the distributed ledger space. And then Naoki over here is going to go in a little more details about today's overall topic of what if. Ooh. All right. So I think most of the folks here are probably familiar with MUFG, but MUFG stands for Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group. And I guess I'll just kind of focus here as far as some of our activities in the US, since we're here in New York. But essentially in the US, we have kind of 3 brands that we go by. We have MUFG, which is kind of tailored to our corporate customers. But we also have Union Bank, which is a consumer bank out on the West Coast in California. And recently we've launched PurePoint Financial, which is a direct online bank. All right. So we have global reach. And just because we're short on time here, I'm going to skip over this slide. So as far as our digital transformation strategy, so the bank has placed a huge emphasis on this and figuring out ways that we can potentially reinvent some of our businesses and also make ourselves more efficient. So we've set up a group, the Digital Transformation Division, which we're both a part of. And essentially we're tasked at looking at the new emerging technologies. So I think we kind of cover every single major buzzword that's out there. But as far as today's discussion, we wanted to focus on the distributed ledger technologies piece, because that essentially incorporates blockchain. And unfortunately, I'm not going to go into every single item here on this slide, but if you'd like to learn more, we'll be around afterwards so we can have further discussions. But 3 things we just wanted to kind of point out, because the bank has also looked at the DLT space as a huge area and for opportunities to expand the business. And I'd like to kind of point out, recently we've announced in Japan the launch of the planned launch for the MUFG coin, where we're looking to issue our own cryptocurrency. We've also earlier this year have announced a partnership with Akamai Technologies, one of the largest cloud providers, where we're actually looking to develop our own blockchain to basically help power micropayments. And then I guess thirdly, and probably relevant to here in the US, but we're also a strategic investor in Coinbase and are looking to do some collaboration work with Coinbase. So that's kind of the highlights of some of our DLT activities that we wanted to point out. But you might be asking yourself, big bank, why are you getting into DLTs? Aren't they supposed to be disrupting your industry? So I'll pass the mic over here to Naoki, who will cover what if.
Yep. So I just try to make it very quick and simple for you guys. But I'd like to start with a statement from Bill Gates around mid-90s. So banking is necessary, banks are not, which sounds pretty fair to me, actually. But is it true? But so just the logical question next is, what if banks were gone? But really to think about it, what is banking anyway? Which I think you guys are familiar with. But so it's payment, deposit, and credit. But why are these 3 actually important and valuable to us? So if you want to pay someone in a far distance, how are you going to pay? And if you want to protect your money, do you want to hold tons of cash in an apartment, which I do not? And how do you afford a house? Well, who will make the credit for you? So apparently, so these 3 looks promising, and the reason why banks still exist. But then there comes Bitcoin around a few years ago, and apparently I'm not really good at explaining what Bitcoin is, and I'm just gonna skip over. But simply to put, it's a money on the internet, just sending email to your receivers. And then people on the internet came to us and then, hey, we can disrupt banks. But it's true. So the impact to this, payment stuff, maybe it could work. You can actually pay over Bitcoin. But what if you want to protect your money? Do you want to protect the Bitcoin that is worth value of $100,000 to your smartphone, which I do not? And Bitcoin itself does not create credit, which you need a trusted bank or someone to create the credit. So, but it sounds simple, but we are required to do many things to justify these 2. So we need liquidity, which is the cash or the capital, you might say, and we also need to protect the customers, in which we are regulated by tons of regulations, by the way. And we also need, this is the one thing that big maybe is that in case of a financial crisis, we have a last resort access to the central bank. So, okay, but it's not just about these features. We also need talent to do this, actually. And these are basically one of the 4 points that I experienced mainly in the banking branch, I mean Tokyo. But it's basically a pretty much dirty job. It's not a sexy job, actually. It takes a lot of time. So my kind of a hypothesis and theory is that at the end of the day, we might get another bank if you want to build another one. But do we want the same bank? Which is clearly not. So we're not really good at user experience. So there's a lot more we can do, and which I believe privacy is one more big thing that will be our major challenge within the next coming 10 years. So that's something we have to work on. But these are the main reasons that we were here. So again, Bill and I are here based out of New York to do a fintech business development. So if you guys are interested in talking to us, then we're interested in talking to us. So yeah, let's get connected and have a chat. And thank you.
Take the center stage. Any comments, questions? We have a couple minutes. Going once, going twice. Oh, we've got a question right over here. There you go. We got the microphone.
Hi, my question is, so you have a corporate venture fund, something like that? Or?
Yeah, we currently don't have a corporate venture capital fund. We do have a dedicated venture arm that is focused on purely financial institution investments, not like a strategic investment. We do it, basically through our commercial bank in Tokyo. They do sometimes direct investments, but the point is that we're not trying to make investments, but we try to achieve something. And the methodology, if it's required to do investments, we just do it. So that's how we think about it.
Thank you.
All right. And any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Let's give it up for them one more time.